Hello! Welcome to Star Citizen, to the AstroPub. My name is Paul, Berserker 1 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. As always, on Mondays, when we're not doing lore, we're doing Zero to Hero. So what that is this is an account that I have that's just a basic bare bones account. It only has a Aurora. Now, since the last major wipe, I have been playing with this Aurora in this account off and on for, I would guess, say 60 hours total. So we're still on the grind. The whole point of this is to do the shipping stuff to make money and such. So, like all my Monday streams are going to be a little bit short, so this will be about an hour or two. We'll yak a bit as things going. Oh, I'm in my main account. Ha, that doesn't work. It's like, why am I drunk? I don't remember being drunk. There we go. I don't think I've ever heard you say how long you've been playing Star Citizen. Since before 0.8. I got swarmed under by rad-suited P4 snipers by NPCs. Yeah, they'll do that. Probably, yeah, I'm definitely pickle drunk. Yeah. Drago. The thing is that I'm not well known for playing the game. That's all. But I play it. I play it on Sundays, every Sunday. I play it usually Saturday before Captain's Table. And I typically play it on Mondays. Sometimes I'll play it on Fridays if Loken's doing as well. So I'm ready to hit my second anniversary in November. I'm still just a babe in the woods. When I was playing Star Citizen, when I first started playing Star Citizen, we just had the hangar module. I remember because I was an Evocati before there was Evocati for the first playable actual game module, which was Arena Commander, the dogfight module, which was 0.8. And when 1.0 came out, when Star Citizen Alpha 1.0 came out, I was an early playtester there because they were giving access out if you just were hanging out in the chat. For those who remember this, I am a chat roll vet. I've been around since the chat roll. Yeah, I remember the PTV race car. Yeah, I remember the weapons rig for testing it. It was hot garbage.
Your vehicle has please visited.
Yeah, there was a ramp. You could do tricks on the thing. Do. Hey, Jade. I remember hearing about Star Citizen at the beginning, but I didn't get a game rig until 2020. Red, see, that's the thing, is that I think most people need to understand, because we've heard this narrative. I was hearing the narrative in 2016 that anybody who had bought Star Citizen would have bought Star Citizen, had bought Star Citizen, and that Star Citizen was going to peter out and no one was going to buy the game anymore. That was in 2016. No, it's not down. All right. No, they definitely are. I've heard. I know the people who said it back then, and they're still saying it. They've moved the goalposts every year. Oh no, it's not a good one. Let's do that. Gotta love the Magnus run. Now they're saying about Squadron. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong here. I do not believe that Star Citizen is some infinite money glitch, that CIG found some infinite money glitch where they can just do things forever. I think there will be an end point. There will be an end to all of this at some point. Probably sooner rather than later. That being said, I have not seen any indication that it's slowing down anytime soon, both in money and in popularity. Unable to initialize carp. I hope no one gets stuck in front of a caterpillar and has to beg for chat to rescue them. Nope. You still on that, buddy? I banned you for being a dick for like a day, and then you decided to come back and keep it again? If you want a permanent vacation, that's all you gotta say. So is Theaters of Wars canned or shelved? Yes and no. Theaters of War is dead. Long live Theaters of War. the like idea of Theaters of War as a separate game mode seems to be dead, but I doubt we're going to see much in terms of the serious updates for Theaters of or for Arena Commander until next year.
Take away my space lasers,
No confuse.
but you can never,
Ever.
take away my space game.
Death Trooper 177 just resubscribed for 16 months.
Thank you
Are you excited for CitizenCon?
Thank you so much for that 60 months of support. You're very important, proper, very impressed, Mr. Rainy Pedestrian. This for all the original Dragonite. Shots and cheers and chat, y'all. Shots and cheers. Am I excited for CitizenCon? I'm excited for the watch party we're doing in Austin that I'm the MC for. Myself and Solus will be talking about the game. We actually have DJ Knight there as well. And we'll be hanging out and doing some cool stuff. Awesome, Death Trooper. Good to see you. I think we've met before, so it'll be good to see you again. Remind me, because I forget names and faces, because I have like 200 faces and names I have to learn every year. I can't wait till the NPC crew is a thing. I like to role play. I mean, here's the thing about NPC crew. The reality of NPC crew is that it's likely not going to happen at all, or it won't happen to a degree. It won't happen to the degree that people hope. Is there anything specific you hope they expand upon a fair bit during CitizenCon? Yeah, the roadmap for the next couple of months, what their plan is in 2026, because they kind of went out and said, hey, this is the year of stability in 2025. So next year, I hope they go into similar detail, at least giving us a general idea of what they're shooting for next year. How soon do you think we'll see Planet Tech? The thing about Planet Tech is that Planet Tech is not going to be a big Lego brick that's slotted in. Planet Tech is going to take several iterations over the course of years. So we've already seen parts of Planet Tech that they showed off at CitizenCon recently, like storms. Now, do storms work all the time? No. Do they travel all the time? No. But the functionality of storms is in the game. Paul, can you explain to me idea what you think NPC crew will be? If it exists, which I have a theory it won't. The way if it exists, it will be a very competitive market where you're going to have to pay a lot of credits to be able to hire an NPC. So much so that it's cheaper just to have another player be in your crew. And even then, those NPCs, especially the better NPCs that have higher skill, will be so far out of most people's ranges that you won't really want to like hire them. Hey Paul, glad to catch you in the verse. Can't play right now. Motherboard died, so vicariously enjoying the pub. Oh, it sucks. That's one of the worst. It's like that's up there with like power source failures as like some of the worst ones. At least power source failures, I've had that happen with my computer before. It's like, it sucks, but like, it's reasonable. Like, you can deal with it. But like, with motherboard, you have to buy another motherboard, which can cost hundreds of dollars, and then you have to reseat everything. So I started out with just an Aurora. This account had just an Aurora and a regular 5,000 UEC from the last wipe. And since the last wipe, I have earned a 315p, a Hull A, and a raft. This is the last least thing I purchased. And this is my cash right now. 400,000. Yeah, it's a forced upgrade for me. Mobo memory processor should be getting everything in a few weeks. So your motherboard died, and you're just like, fuck it, I'm balling. Time to update AM5 and get the latest generation of RAM and everything. That's what happened to me, sort of. My motherboard never died, but it was like, I need to get a new processor because like my old processor is really old, and while I'm already doing that, might as well, you know. Might as well do the whole thing.
Complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Do I need a benefactor, sir? Nah, I'm good. The whole point of this run is to go from 0 to hero using just what a starter player would have. So I'll ask for help every so often if there's something that really needs help, but like that's usually if there's like a bug or something. And if I get somebody's help like with a mission, I pay them. Which reminds me, how's the CPU versus GPU optimization these days? CPU is much heavier, and that's not even a Star Citizen thing. That's just gaming in general seems to be more favoring CPUs over GPUs. Your bottleneck is going to be your CPU. But also depends on like what resolution you're playing at. If you're playing at like 4K, then you know, yeah, your GPU is going to matter some. But especially for Star Citizen, your CPU is much more of a bottleneck. Lifetime contract, sir. Actually, that's great contract. Except you up with one. Yeah, I'm not falling for that trick. Yeah, see, my old CPU, my old gaming computers were also pandemic rigs because I got extra money, and so I decided to like upgrade a couple of things here and there. Mike is doing Dark Souls with his 0 to hero. He can't buy anything, only loot. The iron price. You think it might be crazy? No, it's just super easy to get. To like do 0 to hero. 0 to hero is not hard. So like, I know Mike's doing. You say Mike's doing that? I know Captain Burks did or Burks did like the hardcore 0 to hero where he couldn't even get a ship. He had to do missions in order, like FPS missions, in order to earn enough money to get a ship in the first place. Hey, Rich. Hey, Sapper. Yay, Ryzen 7800 XT for the win. Yes. So yeah, I decided to go even crazier, but that's also because I'm, you know, a streamer. And I got a Ryzen 9800 X3D. MANCHACA. The Wrath went from being such an obscure, like, little shitty ship to, like, being the ship for haulers. I think exclamation point PC will give you my specs. I think I set up that a command. Well, funny enough, this account, this character, was supposed to be an account that was dedicated to being a zero to hero account that would only do work on multi-crew ships. So, like, I still plan on, like, beta or release, doing an entire video series where I don't stream, but I play this account and I go around to random people, talking to them in VoIP, and asking them if I can work on their ship. And then work my way through by working on multi-crew ships, doing odd jobs on multi-crew ships or working with multi-crew members to try to make my way. You get a Redeemer as a contract bonus, so call 1-800-COMMITTED-HT. You can't trick me like that. If VoIP works, that is. By beta, it should. Like, we need a lot more social, like, things in there before I try to do that. That's definitely my, gonna be my shtick for the AstroPub. When in terms of videos, once like content is like once the game, talking about the game is no longer the game. That's fine. They really should have been. Which reminds me, this week is the most Star Citizen released a patch last week I've ever seen. All we're getting is a roadmap roundup, and I guarantee you that roadmap roundup is going to have almost nothing on it. I've actually been taking a little break from Star Citizen to have fun dying like the Beast. Yeah, I mean, the freaking jump space is really fun.
Landing gear up.
Do I not have enough quantum fuel? I don't have enough quantum fuel.
Landing gear down.
I'm gonna see if the quantum works now, if I don't have to, like, store and load again. We might see some basic info on 432. We might. I don't think so, though. I mean, it's been a great year for games. Absolutely dog shit year for games, like, development. We've had some amazing games come out, yeah. I agree. It's the reason why I've been talking about use the freaking distribution or the convention centers as bazaars for players to. Oh, all right, I gotta. What if Jared and the video content team have been hard at work? We have almost an entire year to show almost nothing. Have been so hard at work on. Almost certainly what we're going to be seeing is a bunch of updates from last CitizenCon. I've said before that if you actually cut out all of the fat of a traditional CitizenCon, it's actually only about 2 to 4 hours. You just pulled out all of the important bits, none of the transitions, none of the like cutaways, none of the stupid like, no offense to cosplays, but like cosplay contests. So this is going to be slimmer than most CitizenCons, but not by much. Yeah, and editing takes time. So, like, it's a lot easier for Jared to pull away somebody from, say, the mission feature team when they have time in August, between July and September, basically, July and October, than it is to try to get them for a specific week for a specific show. Let me put it this way. For 45 minutes, I have an dedicated editor, dedicated audio team, and myself was a dedicated with writing and audio recording. With us as a 3-man team, well, really 4-man team, we can produce a complete history of Star Citizen lore in about 3 months. And that's 45 minutes long. Jared's team isn't much larger than ours. He has a video team of, I think, 5 plus himself. And they're not just making one content. They're making multiple contents throughout the week. It'll all be pre-recorded, which is a lot easier. And yet it'll cut down on the time that people doing it. Oh, as I still oh, yeah. Then this it's called CitizenCon Direct this year. Hey, Dibley. So you think that 2 every day takes 10 months to suffer the hands like 10 ISCs this year? No, like you got to remember it's a combination of things. It takes them, they started doing the recording in July. We know they said they started doing stuff in July because that's when Jared stopped showing up to the office and started doing these sort of ISCs and SCLs like in his office rather than in the spaceship. So they started probably pre-planning it out in like June or July, and then started getting people together when they can grab them for shoots between July and my guess would be this month. They probably have a cutoff of like around now in terms of getting all of the interviews they need to get and getting all the footage they need to get. Because, you know, when you have a team of, let's just say all of them are in Manchester, right? That's not the case, but let's say all of them are in Manchester. You're looking at 700 people, of which you need to maybe track down 60 of them. And you have to make sure, and their job isn't to do ISCs or Star Citizen Lives or CitizenCon Direct or anything else like that. Their job is to do the fucking game. So if you want to get something they're working on, you have to capture them, bring them in for an interview, and they have to take either time out of their workday or have to come in after hours to do it. And almost certainly if they're coming in after hours, they're probably going to pay them for it. So that process is my guess would be pretty difficult to get cleared all the time. Yeah, the video needs to flow well. You need to get the audio teams do audio team stuff for it.
Quantum fuel, 100%.
Okay, let's see. Is there quantum fuel levels somewhere? Oh, it's right there. It says quantum fuel 100%, so let's go for it. I'm gonna capture them. COG Pokeballs wins. Jean Crew, I choose you. I mean, it's pretty much that. You also got to remember that these people are video game developers. They're engineers. And speaking as the son of a father who is an engineer, the son of a mother whose family is entirely engineers, with many engineers in the family. In fact, my sister almost became an engineer herself. I can tell you right now that engineers aren't exactly the most socially competent people on the planet, especially software engineers.
Landing gear down. Landing gear.
I think what everyone's excusing them for is what they're allegedly working on is going to be a giant sloppy fart for CitizenCon. I think what they're actually going to show off is the stuff they've talked about in the monthly reports, because that's what happened last year too. When a bunch of people were like, "Oh, all these things are happening," I was like, "Yeah, I fucking knew this," because I read the goddamn monthly reports. Most of it was just updated monthly report stuff, or just like clarifications on it. So almost certainly we'll get an update on Nyx. We'll probably get an update on engineering and some of that gameplay, engineering and crafting and base building. It's not going to be as much as people hope it was. I'll just say that. Like right off the bat, it's not going to be something you're like super duper jazzed about. It'll be a lot of stuff. It's like, oh wow, so it's a slight improvement from last year. It's like, yeah, because she actually hasn't really been working on it much. You think that CIG is so efficient they don't do outtakes and B-roll? Of course they do outtakes and B-roll. How do you get rid of the ship? Get the ship to go more than half the speed bar? Quantum. So if you go into SCM mode, it'll only go up about so far. It won't go very high. If you want to go above that, you have to go into quantum mode, which will then increase your speed up to its maximum speed. That's going away though whenever they get the next one, the quantum stuff in. We've entered a media blackout until CitizenCon. Yeah, which is only a couple weeks away. So. And you can also cut out everything already covered in SCL and comms dive. Yeah. Like, I don't think we'll get a dynamic server meshing report because we kind of got that one with Benoit. But I think we'll obviously get ship updates. We'll get a narrative update of some kind. We'll get Nyx update. We'll get an update on on not server meshing, but on base building and crafting. That probably is going to be the most unimpressive, unfun update. Engineering will probably be a big fun update. Same with, I'm hoping, scanning, because scanning has been one of those things they've been talking about for fucking ever, and they haven't even shown it off once since like CitizenCon 3 years ago. And that was just a temporary, like, we're going to show off how it works in FPS mode. There has to be a significant drop that would wow the crowd. They're gonna talk about Nyx neighborhood or something like that. They'll do some big thing about Nyx. Oh, almost certainly we're gonna get the Kraken next year. If not next year, then early 2028. Amazing that all those things have been coming around the corner for years now. Let's see. Nyx, no. That's always been delayed until after Pyro. But a lot of the preliminary work was done years ago when Pyro was still done. And then after they redid Pyro, they probably went back and looked at Nyx again. Because that's how iteration works. Engineering, that one's probably the most egregious one because it's been out for like 2 years now. They've been saying they're coming out. And then crafting and base building was announced at CitizenCon 2024. No, 2023. But it wasn't actually showed off until 2025 or 2024. They said that they would hope to get it out in the next year or so. They didn't actually say when it was coming out. They just said it's on the roadmap. We're working on it. FPS was 2 years ago. Like the scanning mode was 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Like other ships are just ships. Yeah, I don't know if we'll see dynamic meshing. I'm hoping for an update, but I don't think we'll see it. There was a scanning tease in a shipped asteroid field a few sitcoms ago where the signals wouldn't show up behind asteroids, as well as on a bunch of signals not showing up until a ship, until they were on top of you, like ambushing possibilities. That's in the game. That's been in the game for a bit, Dibley. Where like ships will like you can mask your signatures by being close to larger ships. That's the thing. Like your ships, larger signatures will show up, and then you won't see the smaller signatures until you're on top of them. That was sort of like like an old update. I don't know what they can say in DSM. Probably one a 10-minute segment. Yeah, just explain what it is and saying they're working on it. They're probably still a good 3 to 6 months away from DSM being in testing phases. So what is the scanning you were describing? We don't know. The one that we saw was the FPS ping mechanic, where you would ping scan on FPS, but then it would show you up in other people's scans. That was one that they did for Squadron. That has been shown off a couple of times, but then they said that they were going to take that scanning mechanic and apply it to ships, and they showed off some diagrams of it with like the Scout and God, there was another ship they used that was like this ping scan. I can't remember what it is, but like maybe it was the Terrapin. They did some concepts with it, but the idea was that like they have an idea of what it's going to be, and it involves long range scanning. And then they've said zip and or nada, just jack and or shit for for the actual like mechanics in terms of the details of how it works. Normally knowledge, I would say I agree with you, because every time a major game has a release date, it usually slips back a little bit, even if it's closer than it should be. But from what I've been hearing from inside CIG, it's coming out next year. It might come out at the fucking ass crack at the end of the year, but it's going to come out next year. Hey, Jakara, how you doing? I'm all right. 2 days. That sucks. Know that feeling though. It's just a mistake for CIG and Nixon and Squadron talk at CitizenCon. Then you get memes about the release being delayed. That's their own fault. That's Jared opening his mouth and stuff coming out when he should have just known just to not talk about it. There's a lot of stuff about that specific talk that was weird. Like the idea that CIG was going to sell a battle cruiser, which is like, I mean, I could see it, but CIG's also said in the past that they don't want to sell any ship that's larger than a Javelin. I wish there was a bit more to Hyperion. It feels like it's missing 2 major encounters. Like it's even though Sam is a mini boss, he doesn't feel like a mini boss. He feels like a joke. And then there's no sort of like climactic end. It just sort of ends. It sort of fizzles. It's fine, but for a mission that's calls out for like an arena battle, that doesn't have one. It's the one time I'm like, CIG arena battles. Like, come on. Based off that tweet, yeah, it seems like we're gonna get more. Maybe. Maybe a follow-up to it. Am I in cruise control? I'm not in cruise control. This thing's handled like garbage. I don't remember it handling this badly.
Landing gear down.
There are mechanics in the last two rooms that are completely ignored. Like, there's more there, but it was cut. I wonder if part of the distributions playset were just bits they used. Nah, I mean, because, like, the, like, levers that you can do when you do, like, the I think it's, like, the coolant flush, those were in the previous patch, but they didn't do anything. It feels like they had to cut stuff to make it release. So shit just got cut, and they just were going to add it in later. Even though they were intending it not to do like that. But we'll see. Monthly report in October will be enlightening. That'll be our last monthly report for the entire year, by the way. They won't do another monthly report. This is Sergeant Griff's. What the fuck? I thought this was mine. Is mine behind it? Thanks, CIG. I had a hanger. It was the right hanger, and then it gave up my hanger for some other reason. I think it switched my hanger last minute. See, I will have this Todd Howard moment with GTA 6, so I can see them release the game in 2027 and early access in 2026. No, they're not going to do early access release for Squadron. That's cope, my dude. That is epic level cope. Of course, it's on the other side now. Thanks.
You can take away my space suit.
Suit.
You can even take away my space lasers.
No PPUs.
But you can never.
Nah, I don't know if we will.
Ever.
I don't know if we'll know anything in
Take away my
432.
space game.
What interview?
Kapam just resubscribed.
Everyone's
for
saying an
59
interview.
months. Ready to shift your perspective from the ordinary to the extraordinary? Ready to reset your expectations to the everyday to the highest heights? From breathtaking views, incredible dining, Crusader is calling. Stay at the luxurious accommodations, tour Empire-class shipyards and bask in a sunset that is truly unforgettable. With shuttles arriving daily, what are you waiting for? Come, visit Horizon, the city in the clouds.
I hate you, Cuban. That interview with the French paper about CIG Montreal. We don't know if that was Chris or somebody else. My guess is it was Benoit. Did I understand Darge correctly that from the podcast that the older ADS missions from Pyro 4 are no longer a thing? No, they are still a thing. It was the missions from the first versions of Onyx. Once you've completed them, you can't redo them. It's not like a Project Hyperion where you can just do that over and over and over again. Once you finish the main mission set, so like when you start off the investigation missions all the way up to Hyperion, you can only do that once. It was definitely CR. If I remember correctly, it was not sourced to CR. It was just a manager at CIG or something like that. It's also Montreal, so I don't know how often CR visits Montreal.
ASOC vehicle retrieval system.
What am I doing?
You'll please visit us again.
So much copium. What about that comment? Nah, man. It's not copium. That's just I don't know who it was, so I'm not gonna put like the name on somebody who like could have been Chris or could have not been Chris. It's like when people are like, they confirmed that they've upgraded the Perseus's guns to size 12, and I'm like, according to who? According to the video. What video? For China. It's like they never said that in the China video. Oh well, he said it in China, like to Chinese people he was talking in English to the Chinese like citizens who translated that into Mandarin, and then it was translated back into English. And we're going to take that as gospel, even though multiple years in a row this has happened and it turns out to be nothing. I didn't know I had issues, but I did tier 5 with all 4 factions for resource drive. I'm part of the grouping Paul describes as number/bar go up, me likey. Dude, welcome to like 90% of the gaming population. That's everybody. I like number go up gameplay. All right. it make neuron fire. It was confirmed that Squadron was delayed because of the Jared's comment. Didn't you hear that one? Yeah, of course. Yeah, even though he went immediately out and said that it was just him trying to set expectations because they don't know, no one knows what the fuck's going to happen. People are like, no, he's fucked up and it's just secretly they delayed it and they haven't told us. It's like, uh-huh. Yeah. That's 100% true. For real though, do people want CR to say Squadron 2 will suck or that it'll be as big as GTA? I mean, the reason why people will make fun of that, myself included, is that Chris Roberts hasn't released a game in 26 years, 25 years, maybe 24 years. He hasn't released a video game in 2 decades, 2.5 decades. To come back and be like, my game is bigger than Jesus is sort of arrogance. It's just massive arrogance. Instead of, it's going to be a great romp, everyone's going to enjoy it, you should go buy it and enjoy it. The quote from Squad 42 and GTA 6 was a direct quote from CR. Nothing else was quoted from CR. Interesting. That's the first I've heard that. Again, we're talking about another article that was written in translation. It was written in Quebecois French, and it was translated into English, machine translated. So, could you find me that link? It's directly GQ. Can you find me the quote in translation? Thank you. Squadron 42 will launch at a point in 2026 where it won't be overshadowed by the most anticipated game in the next few months, Grand Theft Auto So the quote specifically says, "We're hoping it will be almost as big as an event. Other than GTA 6, it's probably the biggest budget AAA game," says Chris Roberts. So he didn't compare it to Squad. He didn't say that it was going to be bigger, as big as GTA. He said it would be almost as big. In terms of expense, right? Biggest budget. He's not even saying it's good. He's saying it's a budget. This is the most fucking weird game of telephone I've ever fucking heard. It's in the fucking, like read it. You click the link, knowledge. Now, of course, this is Google translated automatically, but the quote says, Squadron 42 will, this is not a quote, but this is from the article. Squadron 42 will launch at a point in 2026 where it won't be overshadowed by the most anticipated game in the next few months, Grand Theft Auto 6. That seems like a mistranslation or misquote. And it says, quote, "We're hoping it'll be as big an event. Other than GTA 6, it's probably the biggest AAA game," says Chris Roberts. This fan base is toxic, bro? What do you mean, Broheim? Either you look like an apologist or saying it cost $800 million to make, so it wasn't fully funded like it alleged at first. Knowledge, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? I look like an apologist for reading the article? Here, let's read the article together, chat. Let's have a good old-fashioned Paul Shelley reads to you. Lord Daddy reads you the article. Again, this is machine translated, so it could be a little off. Squadron 42. On the way to the, quote, final version of Star Citizen, CIG Montreal plans to launch the single-player game Squadron 42 next year, which already is wrong because Montreal doesn't have a Squadron team as far as we know. They might, but in fact, let me change for some reason. Oh, wait, I gotta go back to the... No. There we go. With a more conventional narrative set in the same universe as the latter. Several new features, including Squadron 42, will then be used to enhance Star Citizen. Squadron 42 will launch at a point in 2026 where it won't be overshadowed by the most anticipated game of the next few months, Grand Theft Auto 6. Not a quote. This is what the article is saying. Quote, "We're hoping it'll be almost as big an event, period, other than GTA 6, comma, it's probably the biggest budget AAA game, comma, exclamation point," says Chris Roberts. Star Citizen has over 1 million returning players every month. In total, at least 25 million people have played at least once. This should help CIG successfully market Squadron 42, as many of these players are eagerly awaiting the new title. Others might be drawn to the formula of the characters. It's Top Gun meets Star Wars, says Chris Roberts. Throughout the action, players will be able to rely on their sidekicks to take on the features of well-known actors, including Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson. The voices and gestures of the three actors were digitized in the studio to create realistic avatars. In addition to Mr. Bossashour, Turbulent's other co-founder, Mark Bede, and partner Claire Buffett have taken on new roles at CIG. The former will lead the studios in Montreal, Manchester, England, Austin, Texas, and Frankfurt. Oh, I didn't know Mark is the head of, is lead of the studios now. Interesting. Frankfurt, Germany, Miss Buffett becomes the head of operations and human resources for CIG's North American offices. Okay. Baudet, thank you. It's also a business publication. So some things seem to be a little off and wrong, but that doesn't seem too out of the ordinary. It's a business dude writing for. Let's see, does he do? Author of books, topics versus personal finance, technology, and automotive. He's a tech guy. That's why. He's their tech reporter, not a games reporter. So it's just a shitty game of telephone. Yeah. They're I assume they're a mainstream publication, but he's their tech reporter. He's not a video games reporter. They had a that machine translation is quite good. I wouldn't correct it. Yeah. Oh, did I lose money off that? Man, I did lose money off that. How the fuck did I lose money off that? All right. That was 101K. Oh. I'll be right back. Don't you need to submit the contract? No, it should automatically submit. Oh, I have to submit? That's weird. That's really weird. I thought it automatically succeeded after you were done. Huh. Be right back. Cargo's word in general dispatch, yeah. You will submit. Yeah, the fact that they were saying things like CIG Montreal was going to release Squadron 42, it's like, I'm sure there may be a couple people who work on Squadron at Montreal, but we know the vast majority of people who work on Squadron 42 are in Manchester. Like, I think I know maybe one, maybe two people here in Austin who work at Squadron 42, and those people I haven't talked to in literal years, so I don't even know if they still work at CIG. These are people I bump into being like, oh yeah, I was QA on Squadron or something like that. Like that sort of thing. No, the emphasis on all the top guys moved into bigger international roles, yeah. It's a whole lot of much ado about nothing. Okay, where do I have to go? Gotta go to Boot by Genie. Oh yeah, I should probably do this real quick.
Quantum fuel.
Yeah, maybe it's not a cargo dish. Maybe. No. Shit, how do we get horns?
Hey, buddy, get out of my hangar.
That sounds like hunting.
Occupado, buddy, occupado. International airport in Denmark shut down. Reports of very large drones being reported. Interesting. It is also Denmark. Could it be Russia doing something? Or maybe the US doing some test flights? There we go. He shut up real quickly when I started talking. I always have a very controversial look at UFOs. My look at UFOs makes nobody happy. Because for those of you who don't know, I absolutely am fascinated by conspiracy, like old school conspiracy. You know, there's like new crazy shit that's like actually hurtful. I'm talking about like, you know, ghosts and the paranormal and, you know, aliens and cryptids and like the Montauk Project. Fucking amazing. Love that shit.
Landing gear up.
And my take on aliens has always been, could it, or UFOs, could they be alien? Maybe. But they could also just be insanely advanced technology that, you know, various governments have created and have absolutely no idea what they're doing with it. Like, just don't know, like, created some crazy advanced shit and they're like, we have no practical application for this. Or if it is aliens, it's stuff that we have no fucking idea what we're doing, and we're just monkeys bashing rocks against nuclear weapons in terms of understanding what's going on. I always look at the thing with a question in my mind. Cui bono, exactly. And especially in a time when any jackass can buy a $1,000 drone and shut down airspace. You never know what's going on. That's the problem about like modern UFO sightings, is that they're so easily faked or misinterpreted. Because the vast majority of like people don't know how aircraft function. I don't know enough about aircraft to really properly identify an aircraft if I see something weird in the sky. The Bergosphere. Now, that one I don't know about. The Bergosphere. I have to look that one up. It's perhaps the Apollo's med drones. That's really where they went. They went to Denmark. If it was drones, they're tracing the operative. They better be Russian infiltrators, because otherwise those tricksters are gonna have a really bad day to fuck around and find out. Never underestimate the stupidity of the average human. The average human will do some dumb shit if given access to high advanced technology. That is like the fucking rule of history. Also, yeah, it's Denmark. Have we ruled out the fact that it might be somebody who's drunk? AKA, you know, 1 in 6 like Denmark citizens. Disregard the source. Barstool Sports. Yeah, I don't. It's interesting. 12,000 years old. That'd be wild. I'd love to see like archaeologists look at it. Three-Eye Atlas apparently is slowing down as it enters our solar system. That one, I'd have to see the reports on that one. I feel like I'd be seeing that all over the place if that was the case. So it could just be delayed reporting because I don't really follow tons of news in that direction a lot. The UFO lore runs deep. People dismiss as immediately as they're people that dismiss as immediately are missing out. There's some cool shit, man. Humans, all of us, are stupid. Humans are the biggest enigma in all of nature. We are as equally stupid as we are clever and smart. Never underestimate the cleverness of a human, but never overestimate it either. Yeah. As a historian, I love to see what people think actually happened in history, because it's often more enlightening to see what people think about why things happened, especially historical conspiracies, than it is to than if it's actually true or not. Because it says a lot more about the people who spin the conspiracies rather than the actual times themselves. One of my favorites is that 300 to 400 years of history was entirely faked, so that they could so these specific rulers in Europe could claim that they were living at the turn of the millennium. It was made by a legitimate historian, academic, in 97, I want to say. And he put out lots of interesting facts about it. But the moment that it got to any sort of mainstream historian, they're like, oh, that's fascinating. How do you account for the recorded history in, like, Persia and Russia and China and India and in various African countries, or the Aztecs or the Inca? Because they weren't controlled by Europe at the time. And many of them have independent dating. Thank you so much for that raid. Who was that? For your immersion. Thank you for that raid. Welcome everyone from For Your Immersion stream. My name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the AstroPub, your space bar at the end of the universe. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. We're talking between alien conspiracies, CIG's interview that they did about CIG Montreal a couple months ago, what's going on in CitizenCon, and Squadron 42. Post-reality era used to be a joke. The joke I've always said is you can live in whatever reality you want to, but the real world will always come flying like a fist and punch you in the face. There are certain facts which are undisputed and have very little like actual sources like against them that people don't believe are true, and like you disbelieve science or like social studies or psychology or economics at your own peril with those. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay taxes, and when you get sick, you're gonna have to go to a doctor. You don't have to go to the doctor. You could be like Steve Jobs and treat your cancer with essential oils and crystals. And then die super fast. What? He was a dumbass. And every time you learn more about Steve Jobs, who he was in reality, he was an asshole. No one should be reverently worshiping that guy. That guy was a complete dick. A very good marketer or publicist, like good at publicity, good PR person, but total dick, fucking ruthless douchebag. Yeah, deadbeat dad, awful boss. Listen, I've got nothing wrong with flat Earth experiments proving the Earth is round. That's some put your money where your mouth is, and you know, fantastic stuff. The Wizard of Woz. I think Woz is still alive, right? And the ultimate joke is that Woz, who got none of the credit for doing all of the work, is still alive, while everyone else like reveres Steve Jobs as some sort of fucking holy idol, when he was just a dick who was good at economics, not even economics, good at capitalism. It's calling him a marketer is also. Is also very very charitable. He wasn't really a good marketer as he was a good advertiser. He had a good eye for like advertising and public relations. I find it funny because, bringing back to Star Citizen, the actual story of the head of ASD is, like the current CEO of ASD, is Steve Jobs. Because Steve Jobs kind of became the model for all CEOs, tech CEOs going forward. And you kind of see that like most tech CEOs aren't very good technically. They're usually not really engineers as much as they are social engineers. If anything, they're not really good coders or developers or inventors. They're just sort of passable at these sorts of things with more social skills than your average techie. And so as a result, the ASD, the head of ASD is basically that. He wanted to be a scientist, but at best he was going to be an average scientist, so he gave up. And instead managed to work his way into a company he had no business being part of, and take it over through guile and cunning. By working off the work of other more successful scientists. Lol, Woz is in the news because he turned 75 and is happy. Listen, I lose nothing but the best for Woz. And the eternal joke of the universe, the man who basically founded Apple is never going to be known as the man who founded Apple. This sounds like my job. What was that second part? Oh, that ASD. So the head of the current CEO of ASD got there because he always loved science, but he wanted to change the world with science. He went to college, and at college he found out that he was at best average at science. And so he was working alongside people who were much better than him, and so he gave up his dream. But he still wanted to change the world. So he found a company that had very low standards, got a job at that company, ASD, found somebody who was brilliant inside the company, and managed to spin his product into what is the distortion repeaters that we have in game right now. Sold pretty well and got ASD on the map, and then continued to use his technology and other technologies while proving that he was a very good spin artist. He could spin anything and like really razzle dazzle people, and ended up his razzle dazzles caused the death of a lot of people when the gun they were showing off overpenned and killed a bunch of people. And instead of having the career-ending thing that it was going to be, the UEE military came in and said, "Hey, that weapon of mass destruction you built by accident, give it to us." And so they sold it to the UEE military, and then he said, "We aren't fucking apologizing. We ain't fucking leaving. I ain't fucking leaving." That's what I mean. It's literally every tech CEO. It's the blueprint of every tech CEO today. Yes, we prefer your razzle dazzle. Thank you. I promise never to sell you weapons of mass destruction, chat. Promise? Well, no, I can't promise I won't sell you weapons of mass destruction, because I don't know what the future holds for me. Just like we have no idea if Star Citizen's or Squad 42 is gonna come out in 2026. I have no idea if I won't end up becoming a dictator for some third world country, you know, and develop nuclear weapons to protect myself from being invaded by the United States. Yes, Professor Farsworth. What are you doing to protect my Second Amendment right to own doomsday machines? So what do you actually do in your spare time? No comment. Yes, I'm working on it. I'm working on the longer beard. Problem is if it gets a little bit too long, it gets really shabby. Ayatollah Astro Hussein. You should grow out your beard until we get nicks? No. Absolutely not. I like how Star Citizen lore started with Silas Kerner's BS and ended up with this guy. Most dictators had less facial hair, not more. Depends on the... Oh yeah, that's true. Facial hair became quite the rage in the like late 20th century. I always appreciate learning more about the lore here. I plan on doing an entire video on ASD. I gotta finish my Hurston video, which I keep trying to do. I'm gonna do it this week, because I have to. And then I will do a compilation video on all of the ships of the UE Navy, and then I will be doing a video on ASD for Halloween. That doesn't feel right. It's obstructed, that's why. Good. Far as I can tell, based off of what I've spoiled myself, yeah, it's got a lot of lore to it. There's a lot of backstory and other things you can find. There's even references to the Mezzer era and sort of like how the Mezzer era was for the average person. And you gotta remember that the Mezzer era took place like almost 200 years from the time period of Squadron 42. We need a good Rasputin. I'm hoping they keep pumping content. I do too. I'm hoping in CitizenCon we'll hear a little bit more about the narrative arc for next year. Do you think Perseus will be historically accurate when it releases? No, because the Perseus we're going to see in when it releases is going to be the modern version of it. Project Perseus is the updated version of the Perseus that was designed after the Battle of Oberon, where the last stand of the Achilles took place. You got to remember the last stand of the Achilles and the last few Perseuses that were from the original, like, sort of runs of the Perseus were, by the time that they were in the Battle of Oberon, they're talking like they had been retired for a century. They'd been in mothballs forever. So them being pulled out of mothballs because every ship in the fleet was pulled out to try to go deal with the Vandal incursion in Oberon. It was just an accident of history that it was in the right place at the right time. And it was after that Admiral Bishop was like, make more of those. So it's entirely within the scope of reality that the Perseus is going to look a lot like the Polaris, because the Perseus is an updated version of the ship that it was originally designed to be. Kind of like the Zeus. Zeus Mark II is very different from the Zeus Mark I, but it's the same sort of design aesthetic.
Landing gear down.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them do more of that living world. I'm hopeful, but not optimistic, that CIG will be able to get more Onyxes faster. Because I kind of need, like, 4 or 5 Onyxes per system in terms of narrative story arcs. That would give it, like, $25 dungeons at launch. We need a boss battle. We're not going to fight Jort. Jort is never going to be the guy we fight, because Jort's too much of a coward to use his own serum. It's definitely going to be somebody else, though. I think story stuff and facilities we've seen this year are because Squadron 42 people finally work on Star Citizen. To a degree, yes. And a lot of the, like, I'm almost 100% sure that the Onyx facilities are a reuse of assets from Squadron. Because the Hathor facilities is a reuse of assets from Theaters of War. God, what's the other one? The, both Lazarus and the other facilities, the Stormbreaker facilities, are both reuse of assets from the Good Doctor. Now, there's some new things like the worms and stuff like that, but they're asset reuse. They're clever asset reuse. And so I wouldn't expect a ton of like unique areas, but I do expect more Onyx-like missions with Onyx designs, you know. Now, you're thinking too small there, Jaded. He wouldn't be arrested and escape. He would be arrested and then cleared of all charges and then disappear from the record. And we'll see him again at some facility where, like, biological mutants have broken out from a research facility funded by the UEE military. You know, classic Operation Paperclip shit. But we definitely need a boss battle. Yeah, that whole mission chain called out for a boss battle, and it just didn't have it, which is kind of lame. There's no big ending to it. Yeah, he won't be arrested. He'll be hired by Barnacle. No, he'll be arrested. They'll make a big deal about, you know, controversial doctor arrested for possible crimes, and then he'll be cleared of all charges, and then quietly disappear to go work for some other corporation. Yeah, I was also hoping for some Vanduul stuff, given all the things we learned. This is the reason why I was waiting until... yeah, let's see my... reputation. I am in member rank, slowly working my way up. My goal is to get master rank. They fucking hate my ass. But only a rookie with Red Wind. Alright, I'm gonna head back to Area 18. I wouldn't mind finding a Mecha Jorrit like the end boss of Wolfenstein. I'd love to see Sammy becoming a reoccurring baddie. If Sammy is sort of like versions of Sammy that exist across all of Jorrit's facilities as just equally fucked up transmutations of Sammy. I'd love to see a Titan suit. The Titan suit battles have been like crying out for a Titan suit battle. Like, that would be the perfect addition, in my opinion, of the Titan suit from Squadron, is like to have you fight it. So it's like, okay, we've got a Titan suit we have to fight. Don't worry, we have our own Titan suit. Our own Titan suit. The fucking Ikti. And then having Iktis as mobs that are like walking around firing at you, while this like Titan suit's leaping around shooting at you. Jorrit legitimately believes he is saving humanity by blending Vanduul DNA into human DNA. I agree, immersion. I've been an argument. I've been an argument. I've been calling for like small battle mechs, like 10 meters. I want to say it's like 8 meters. Maybe I'm going crazy with that one. Yeah, 6 to 8 meters.
Landing gear up.
If it's commodity cargo, you should be able to just drop it in the hangar floor and store the ship, and then go to your inventory. You can bring it up in the elevator and send it back down. You complete the mission and save unloading time. Yeah, I know, but I kind of like doing this. That's not going to always be the case in the future. Every good man scientist has a messiah complex. Yep. So what do you think is going to be the controversy that's going to come up for the CitizenCon in 3 weeks? It's always something. They're going to show off crafting and base building, and they're not going to say a date, and everyone's going to get fucking angry. He's like, I only bought this game so I could get base building, you know, kind of thing. People losing their mind like they lost their mind because the Apollo doesn't have drones. Yeah, Chris doesn't like mecha, and I don't understand why. My argument for mecha is A, it fits perfectly in the universe because it basically creates walking ships. Ships, something about the same size as a ship is, with shields and weapons. So you can set that sort of scale. It kind of sets the scale between soldiers and vehicles and ships. It gives you some sort of like, it's a staple of 80s science fiction. Plenty of 80s science fiction had giant walk-talking fighting robots. You know, yeah, it's a staple of Japanese animation, but Japanese animation in the 80s was fucking filled with robots. And that inspired like Robot Jocks and plenty of other sort of big robot movies and other sort of franchises that existed. I don't think the ship has sailed yet. I just think that I think it's an uphill battle. Macross size ship? I think the Macross is about the same size as a Bengal, isn't it? I'd be wrong on that one. Look it up. Do. It's 1,210 meters long, 496 meters wide, and 32 meters high. And so slightly bigger than the Bengal. Oh yeah, for sure. The mech, the Atlas platform is definitely, it's a mech. As much as people don't want to believe it's a mech, it's a mech. And the Zeus platform is also a mech. but it's sort of mini mechs. I'm just saying there needs to be something slightly bigger. I think there's limitations where spaceship is dominant, like mobility. There's just tons of room for ground dominant mechs. Just hoping the Titan suits are as fun as they will be. Yeah, no, that's my point. It's like, I'm not talking about Gundams. I'm talking about battle mechs from BattleTech. You know, that sort of designed for ground combat, used as a shock heavy punch vehicle, as a counter to spaceships. And my argument has always been, Chris loves Star Wars, and Star Wars has mechs. As much as Chris may not want to admit it, Star Wars has mechs. Yeah, the giant spider drone, which is still in Squadron. I want a big mech like the big Warhammer one with the dead guys. The Dreadnoughts? Dreadnoughts is not that much bigger than a Titan suit. I mean, it's bulkier, but it's only slightly taller than a mech suit, I think. Than an Atlas suit. I think that size would be perfect mechs, honestly. I'd be happy if CR moved away from mechs. CR is already not at mechs. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, from Star Wars. But my argument has always been is that Chris loves Star Wars. Star Wars has mechs in it. So how can Chris not like mechs when Star Wars has mechs? Not too bad. A couple of hours, earned about 180K. Hung out, talk with y'all. Let me look up the okay, so the Bengal is 990 meters in length. The Macross is 1,210. So it's likely that the Retribution is almost 2 times the length of the Macross. It is like absolutely dunks on the size of the Macross, because the battleship Macross, the SDF Super Dimension Fortress, is 1,200 meters. The Retribution is 2,700 meters long. The Macross is 496 meters high. So it's a little bit taller than the Retribution. The Retribution is only 400 meters tall, but in width, the width is 496, and the width of the Retribution is 700. So it's almost twice as wide, and the height is 312 meters for the Macross, and the Retribution is 400 meters. The Macross is basically the same. Like the Retribution is basically a double XL Macross. How are they going to have a 1 kilometer ship in Star Citizen? They already had it in game. They had the Bengal flying around, what, 2 years ago during Invictus? Has there been a larger vehicle in gaming that has a physicalized interior as big as 1 kilometer? I mean, probably. We're talking about video games. I'm sure there's some specialized game that had that full working interior stuff. No, yeah, the ship, there's no interior. It was just the exterior, but it was firing and stuff.
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system. Your vehicle has please visit us again. Goodbye.
Okay, this is from a video called You Won't Believe What the Inside of... Oh, no, that's wrong. This is from SC Snowhawk. This was posted 4 years ago. Oh, this is just from ISC. Yeah, I mean, this is from ISC. This is from Giuseppe's Gaming. To show off that, yeah, this was in game like 4 years ago. This is the underside, by the way. Those are the Goliaths. I think it was impossible to blow up, but I think someone forced it to the ground, right? I think it was only in 1, maybe 2 patches that the Bengal was working. The game definitely was stuttering at that point, but it wasn't awful. It was like a week. It was during Invictus in 2021, I think. Or maybe 2021 or 2022. It was also not just the Bengal. It was escorted by an Idris and several hammerheads. Oh, and a javelin, yeah. It was also a javelin. Was doing it. I remember we tried to kill it and we had no chance. There's a reason why it's called the shipbuster railgun. Thank you for hanging out, y'all. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. I'll be back on Thursday for the office hours, and I will see you. Check out this weekend. I should have the tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm going to work on the Hurston video to get that done. It's been in process. I just need to actually sit down and pump it out. And then on this weekend, we'll be doing the captain's table. I still got to figure out what to do, but I'm going to reach out and see if I can't get anything done. Well, yeah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. Let's find someone to raid. Who? Red Monster streaming. Go say hi to Red. He's doing Project Hyperion.